was when she woke.
Now, this raises a question that I've been encountered with many times,
process,
and that is the ethics of the program. And we're going to ask a few questions because everybody is very thrilled about this process. Everybody is absolutely amazed by the results. But at the same time, some parents and some professionals are asking several questions about the more details about this process. So that's why I managed to get an interview with Joane Goulding, and I'm very happy for you taking the time and the effort to answer some of the questions we have. All right, thank you so much. So just to start this off, let's start from the beginning. What is the Goulding SleepTalk process?
They work within the structure and the parameters of the training. And from an ethical perspective, as I said, we ask consultants to sign a very detailed agreement of code of practice and code of ethics.
But also, the same question comes from different parents who say, well, if I'm using this, I'm interfering with the free will of the child, and who knows, maybe one of the parents is not so lightheartedly intended, and he might want to manipulate the child into different things.
But they don't need sleep talk to manipulate a child, Eugene. They don't need sleep talk to be inappropriate in their language. In fact, I have never ever met a parent, and that includes me, that hasn't said something that they wish they hadn't said, because once it's said, you can't put it back. I believe that sleep talk is very ethical, and there's basically no contraindications whatsoever from a psychological or medical perspective. And if a parent considers going into their child's bedroom and telling them they're loved and that tomorrow is going to be a happy day and that they are lovable, then if you consider, or they consider, that's unethical, then
they shouldn't use the process.
They shouldn't use the process.
Yeah.
But in reality, they are. All parents actually do use the sleep talk process. They just don't know they're doing it. When you walk in to a child's bedroom and say, "Good night, darling, happy dreams," and walk out, that is sleep talk. The difference with the Goulding process is that it is ethical in terms of the suggestions that you are giving that child. Foundation suggestions, one size fits all around the world. Every child needs to know that they're not only loved, but they are both lovable unconditionally by both their parents.
Yeah.
So if that's unethical, well, that's not my problem. Sorry.
I understand. Thank you for making that clear. Now, here's another question. Would all children benefit from this process?
To different degrees, usually. Great question, thank you. There are a lot of, for instance, hypnobirthing practitioners and a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists, doctors, health professionals who believe that in actual fact you can talk to the awareness and the soul of the child while they're in utero. And of course we now know that that is actually, the research is now proving that hearing is possible for the child to hear while in the intro.
Yeah.
So now I forgot the question.
If all children can benefit from this process.
Yes, thank you. To a different degree. Michelle benefited, but she was at the bottom of the scale. The children who are having temper tantrums, children who are suffering from sibling rivalry, separation anxiety, nail biting, fear, anxiety, stress, warts, education, a fear of education, the fear of going to school, the fear of learning.
Bedwetting.
Sorry?
Bedwetting also, for instance.
Yes, bedwetting. Thank you. In fact, one of the most lovely emails I get, or phone calls, is Joane, I just had to share this with you. He's pooing in the toilet. And that makes my day.
Yeah,
and there are lots and lots and lots of case histories on the website for people that you might like to refer to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to pitch that in, I had one of the parents who attended one of the presentation I gave. She wrote to me a few days ago and she said, you know, we've been using the SleepTalk for a few weeks now, and the teacher at school, she tells me that my kid writes so much more beautifully than he used to. I was like, what? It's like that.
That's an end result.
Yeah, that was like, you know, she was not using it for him to write, you know, to have a more cursive writing, but there was a side effect.
It's one of the effects. I think this is one of the strengths. Great case history, Eugen. Good example. This is one of the effects. The SleepTalk process deals, it's caused focused. So it deals with the foundation of belief. The effect that people worry about, the bedwetting, the nail biting, the education issues. That's when you go and see a counsellor or a psychologist or a doctor, I'm sure they'd be a fantastic help. But they're dealing in most cases with the effect. Whereas SleepTalk Foundation Level 1, and I'm sharing, as you know, in Romania, levels 1, 2, and 3, which is interesting. We're dealing with the foundation of belief, and it's about assisting the little one to change their default programming of fear to, I'm okay, I can deal with my world.
All right, good. Thank you. Now, what are the chances that a child would not react to this technique?
Yes, another great question. Where did you find these questions? I'll have to get a copy of them. Sometimes when an older child, up until sort of, I think I didn't actually answer your previous question, sort of 0 right through to about 14, 15 is about the age range, depending on the child, their level of maturity, and whether or not they're intellectually or physically impaired. But children in the latter age bracket, they have had many years to develop their belief structures based on their parents or their environment, what they've been taught. That's the basis of their belief structure. So their default programming is very strong. The first 5 to 7 years are basically the strongest in terms of education of our children's mind and soul, I must admit. So when you start to work with a child that is in the latter part of the age range spectrum, then sometimes you have to wait just a little bit longer for the subconscious mind to accept the new default programming. Basically, it's so simple. It's mummy loves you, daddy loves you, we all love you, you are lovable, today's a happy day. What child in this world doesn't want to hear those words? And what parent in this world doesn't want to have the opportunity to make those statements?
Absolutely.
So it just takes a little bit longer. And some children will react because the suggestions that you're giving to their subconscious computer, because that's what it is, are contrary to their, unfortunately, unhappy belief structures. So it can just take that little bit longer.
So to kind of sum up the question, is there any chance that a child would not react to the process?
No. The only time they don't react and improve is if the parents aren't consistent and go outside the guidelines. And that might sound rather an ego sort of statement. And I would have agreed about 20 years ago, Eugen. But over the last 8 years, with the results and the feedback that we're getting from around the world, the only time there aren't any changes is when the parents don't present the process